from Boston, this is WEBN News.
Hello everyone and welcome to this week's edition of Off the Bench. I'm Beck McMahon, joined by Leon Liu and Simon Pelsman. We've got an action-packed show for you today. Let's get right to it. It's Championship Saturday in college football, and it's still anybody's guess as to who will make the college football playoffs. LSU, Ohio State, and Clemson all seem to be in the driver's seat, but the fourth spot is up for grabs. Guys, who do you think will claim the fourth playoff spot?
So, if the team that is supposed to win this weekend wins, I think Georgia will be out. So LSU is playing Georgia this weekend in the SEC Championship, and I think Joe Burrow should get the job done. And then I think Clemson and Ohio State have no problem beating their respective opponent, which is Virginia and Wisconsin. If that's the case, Georgia is out. So right now we have Utah at number 5, Oklahoma at 6, and Baylor at 7. And in this situation, I like Oklahoma winning the Big 12 championship, and then I like them over Utah in the sense that, well, Utah won 8 straight, but they played against weak opponent like, UCLA, Arizona, Washington, Cal. Those are just not good football team. And I think that loss to USC, really hurt them. And they also have not played any ranked team. While Oklahoma has beat Texas on the road, they've already beaten Baylor before and will do it again this weekend. And I also think, and I believe they also beat Iowa State when they are ranked. And also, when you look at the way the teams are built, who do you know is on the Utah roster? It's not really that strong. It's not that strong of a team. I like Jalen Hurts and Lincoln Riley over Tyler Huntley and Kyle Whittingham. Because if you look at it, Jalen Hurts at one point of the season was a front runner for Heisman, and Lincoln Riley might be in the NFL next season, coaching like the Cowboys or maybe in the New York Jets. So I like Oklahoma based on their personnel, and I also like them over the fact that they played a stronger schedule. So I think Georgia's going to be out and Oklahoma is going to be in.
Who do you have, Simon?
I think starting off, I think it's really easy to say Oklahoma is the right choice, and I really like Oklahoma. But I think that right now, I think that Utah is the overall better football team. And Oklahoma has the flashy players. You have CeeDee Lamb, you have Jalen Hurts, and obviously everyone knows about Lincoln Riley. But the Utah Utes ranked 9th nationally in yards per play on offense and 4th in defense. The only 2 other playoff teams in the top 10 in both categories, 11-0 Ohio State, 11-0 Clemson. Tyler Huntley, their quarterback, I don't know too much about him before the season, but he has, right now, it was 18 passing touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 5 rushing touchdowns. And he will get some Heisman votes for what he's done there. But wait, I would say the main part of this Utah team is their defense. It is filled with NFL guys. You have 2 All-Americans in the secondary with Julian Blackmon and Jalen Johnson, both guys who could be first-round picks coming up. I think they're a really well-coached team. And yeah, you're right in terms of the Pac-12 might be a little weaker, but Oklahoma's defense is so porous that I don't really see them having enough to qualify them for a playoff bid. But I struggled with this one, and I almost went Georgia, but I just don't trust Jake Fromm. I think you need more than a game manager in these moments. So.
I agree. But the thing with Utah is you guys lost to USC, who is not even ranked in the top 20 right now. And the other team you guys have played is just not that strong. So if you guys do make the college football playoff, how are you guys going to hold up against Ohio State, LSU, or Clemson?
It depends on Oregon. You have to think Oregon was just in this race really recently. Justin Herbert's been struggling, and so that's a game you need to watch. If Utah can win out, especially being the 5 seed right now, I think it sends a bad message to the rest of college football, not giving them that playoff spot. Otherwise, it's just, okay, you're just going to besides Oklahoma, you're just going to fill it with SEC teams. I don't know.
All right, we got Oklahoma, Utah. We'll have to see. Tom Brady and the Patriots struggled once more this weekend, losing to the Houston Texans. The Patriots offense has struggled to get things done since losing wide receivers Josh Gordon and Antonio Brown. Brady's passer rating was under 100 for the 7th consecutive game. Guys, are Brady and the Pats done?
As a Jets fan who is always suffering at the hands of the Patriots, I will never say that Tom Brady and the Patriots are done. But what I will say is that I have more doubts about them this year than I ever have, especially with how you see the league is changing and how mobile quarterbacks are having so much success. I just don't think that they have the firepower or speed to keep up with the likes of Russell Wilson and the Seahawks, the likes of even Deshaun Watson and the Texans, which we just saw, and as we saw even the weeks before, Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. I mean, even if you match them up with San Francisco in the Super Bowl, I don't know how they do. I mean, especially you're looking at the recent draft picks, and N'Keal Harry's good, but he was a first-round pick, and he hasn't had much of an impact. Sony Michel obviously was really integral in their Super Bowl run last year, but hasn't really warranted a first-round pick as running back as of now. And with no AB, Josh Gordon, or reliable tight end, I don't see them doing it this year. I don't think they'd have enough juice. Especially in their defense is great, and their secondary is one of the best of all time. But it is. Their secondary is one of the best of all time, but I don't know if the pass rush has it. I mean, are you counting on Chase Winovich and those guys when it comes to January? I don't know if you can do that.
What have I been saying all year? What I've been saying is that Tom Brady is not the same player he once was. And you look at this game, up until the last two drives, Tom Brady had 15 for 34 for 189, a touchdown, and an interception.
Yeah.
And you tell me that's the same player?
No,
He's washed. He cannot carry an offense like he used to. And he beforehand, like a couple of seasons ago, he can elevate guys like undrafted receivers and this and that. But now he is not carrying the load. If anything, he's being carried by that quote-unquote historical defense, who I think is kind of overrated. The defense, they cannot stop the run. And when they play, they love playing cover zeros. But when they do it against a good team like the Houston Texans, their DBs cannot match up with receiver, and their blitz is not going to get there in time before the quarterback can get rid of the football. And you look at the Patriots offense, they're ranked third in NFL in punts, behind Sam Darnold and your New York Jets, and Chicago Bears, which is led by Mitchell Trubisky. And after that, Tom Brady and the Patriots. Third in NFL in punt. And for them to win this, Brady have to play mistake-free football. They cannot give defense a short field. On Sunday night, they gave a pick to Houston. What happened? They scored right away. And if the road to AFC, the road to Super Bowl goes through Foxborough, I'll give them a chance. But this year, they're playing in Lamar Jackson's house up in Baltimore. And with the talent of the Patriots and the way Brady is playing, I don't think they can win on the road. I don't think they can make it to AFC Championship this year.
Well, okay, before you finish, I'm going to remind you of one thing. If you remember Peyton Manning with the Broncos, he had that one season, I think it was 2012 or 2013, where he was offensive MVP. I think he threw for the most touchdowns in NFL history. That offense was historic, but they lost in the Super Bowl, right? The following season, Peyton Manning was horrendous. He got benched for Brock Osweiler, got brought back in the playoffs, but the reason that team won the Super Bowl was their defense. And so the reason I'm not willing to completely count them out is because once it becomes December, January, it's tough for me to just say that their defense won't pick it up, and when the games become lower scoring and the weather becomes colder, I can't count out Belichick and that defense yet. But I want to.
I think we're forgetting. Patriots dropped to number 2 seed last week to the Texans, but they almost came back to win. It was still a close game. Tom Brady still pulled through in the fourth quarter. Everyone was shaking in their seats. So
that was garbage time.
That
was garbage time.
I don't know if you would say he's completely out. He had the Texans shaking for a minute.
There's not going to be a parade on Wilson this year.
Wow.
They're done. They're done.
Save that footage.
Done.
Save that
they
footage.
are done.
We talk about this all day long, but we have to move on. We finished tonight with the NBA. Luca Doncic is turning heads in his second NBA season. The 20-year-old is averaging over 30 points and 9 rebounds per game. Is Doncic already a top 5 player in the league?
No.
He is not.
He is not.
Too early?
I feel like we are too much of like a prisoner of the moment.
Yep.
When you look at the top player in the NBA, you have, who comes to mind? You have LeBron, Kawhi, the Greek Freak, James Harden, Jokic, Embiid, AD, and right now KD and Steph's not even playing. I think for him to enter that conversation, he has to be doing what he's doing right now comes playoff time.
Exactly.
Now, granted, he's leading the Mavericks to be the 4th spot in the West right now, which is pretty impressive because I don't think anyone gave Mavericks a shot before like the season, but now they're playing really good. But every superstar has to learn how to win the postseason. LeBron had to do it after getting just completely blown out the floor against the Mavericks back in 2011. You look like Greek Freak and what he was doing last year. He just completely just does not know how to play in that series against Kawhi Leonard and the Toronto Raptors. So I had to see Luca Doncic do this in the postseason before I can even put him in the top 10 right now.
Fair.
How I view it is, yeah, you can look at his statistics from his games this year and be like, wow, those are incredible numbers, and right now he is playing like a top 5 player. But then when you kind of broaden the scope a little bit and you realize, I'm not calling him better than Damian Lillard. I'm not calling him better than Klay Thompson yet. And I'm putting him on the same level as Karl Anthony Towns. And Karl Anthony Towns has shown me more just over the years. And so I'm absolutely not ready to put him in the top 5. And I am barely ready to put him in the top 10. And I think a larger issue surrounding this is actually have the Mavericks set it up for success. Because I don't believe that Kristaps Porzingis is worthy of that max contract they gave him. And I think that as we see Doncic progress, I think you could start really critiquing and looking at this Mavericks roster with a harsher eye. And I don't know, at some point the responsibility has to go to Doncic to bring this team to be a winner, but I don't see it happening anytime soon. I don't see them making the Western Conference semifinals in the next 2 years. I think they're too far off. And also, I might get hate for this, but I don't know, it's like, how much higher is his ceiling than what it is right now? You have to think about this. He's been a professional since he was 15, 16.
Right.
It's like,
playing overseas.
yeah, obviously, if he maintains these numbers the rest of his career, he is an all-time great. But
here's another
be
thing
real.
we have to look at. When you look at these like young players, these nice young players, teams that hasn't figured out really like a way to kind of defend them yet. Like remember Donovan Mitchell in his
Yes.
rookie year,
Yes.
and how there was talk about like him being like the next one up, and now he's kind of quiet down. So I feel like as team are starting to watch more of his tape, they're gonna figure out a better way to like guard him and contain him, and then there might be a chance that he's gonna get exposed. But he's a nice young player, but I'm not ready for him to be in that conversation yet.
And I would say I put him at like the Devin Booker level. He's obviously better than Devin Booker right now, but I mean, Devin Booker's right in that conversation in terms of young guards and forwards. I mean, Jokic, even Ben Simmons, if he develops, I think he's in that range. I think it's way too soon to jump on the bandwagon and say this guy's a top 5 player in the league.
I have to agree. He's a young player. He's still got some more to show. That's all the time we have for today on Off the Bench. For Simon Pelsman and Leon Liu, I'm Becca McMahon. Have a great night.